Hey everyone, so I put a video out the other day about my Indiana Railroad slug, and I mentioned in the video that if anyone wanted to see how I did this, let me know. Well, a few people wanted to know, so I'm making this video. A little short, sweet one, not going into a ton of detail, but basically get the gist of what I did and how I came up with the idea of building this powered slug in N-scale. Back in August of 1988, I did some research and found out, just to verify when I got the inspiration to do this, Model Railroader had a cover, and I don't know if you can see this. I'm gonna try. Got glare there. There it is. They had the seaboard system. It was a cold drag, 2 EMD units on each end and 2 slugs in the middle, and I thought that is really cool looking, and I want a slug like that. So I got to looking at these Atlas RS3s, and I believe I saw someone else working with one doing something. It's been too long, I don't totally remember. But I decided to get to work and try to see if I could do it myself. And that's how I started out. Now, when I first did this, the first rendition of this, I made it CSX. And this is a photo of what the first one looked like. Sorry about the bump. This is what it looked like originally when I finished it. Well, then CSX decided to change their paint schemes, as so many of us remember, and they went from that gray paint scheme to dark future. And I decided I was going to take that body and paint it. Well, I jacked up the paint job, and as many model railroaders know, when you get frustrated by something, put it up on the shelf, walk away from it. And that's what I did. So I put it up, and I started thinking about, let me get that thing back out, and I was going to strip it and actually do a better job painting it in CSX. But then I thought about it again. I think I want one for Indiana Railroad, so I changed my mind and I painted it, and that's how I came up with this. So I'm going to show you real quick what I did, how I came up with that. I need to turn the camera around so that I can show you guys what I did, so give me a second. So as I mentioned, I used an Atlas RS3, which is this little booger right here. Get this camera right. This is what I used. And I'm going to disassemble that thing to show you what I did, because most of what happened is outside the shell. So just a second. So this is what this thing looks like out of the shell right here. You have these little bumps here that went underneath the cab, and then they had these little doohickeys here for the lighting, and this high piece right here. And it's, other than holding the light units in there, that's all they're for. So what I did, I took my Dremel motor tool. Let me get this back in the camera, trying to do this, and I cut it across here, and I cut these out. So when I did that, this is what it ended up looking like. Give me a second here. So I went from this to this. Now what I did, that's in focus, hope it is. So what I did, I disassembled it. There's screws on this side, small Phillips screws, and I pulled this apart. So of course when you're grinding, you don't want to get the metal inside your electric motor. So you see where I basically milled it down, this piece across the top. and then these right here. So all of that's gone right there. So I cut all of that out, milled it down, and then reassembled it. And it's basically what I have here. I painted this because there were a little bit of gaps underneath it, just so it blends in and around the frame. So another thing that needs to be done is your handrails. As you can see, this goes up because it had the step there on the body. So the rail went up according to the stair. So, and if you look here, the catwalk or walkway was cut out because of those bumps that I showed you that you would have to mill off. Lucky when I made mine, I had one of these spare handrails. I believe it's because I bought a different shell, if I remember right, but I had an extra one. So what I did is I cut it off and I matched it up to get a solid rail down the side. Or you could take this fine piece of wire, if I could pick it up, and run it across there like that. I think you can see that. Can you see that? It's hard for my eyes to see it. But that's something else you would have to do to match that up, to get rid of this, or at least to match it up so your rails go straight down the side. So then I went back to the shell, and I thought the shell was a little bit too high, and I probably could have left it like it was at this height, but I decided to cut it down some along here. As you can see, these are two different heights. I probably could have left it at the standard height that it was. Now this shell actually comes off, so I needed to get rid of that, and this is what it looked like, and I cut these pieces off. So I took some styrene and some, I think it was called plastic putty, and filled these holes in and sanded it down. I took the horns off. I ground down this fan back here, and I took the stack off of it also. The grades there, they were left in, but that was basically it. But if someone wanted to copy this or to do what I did, I would imagine you could probably leave it at the same height. You probably really wouldn't have to cut this top piece off. You could probably just get rid of these bumps on the side and leave the top as it is. And again, you would definitely want to take it apart so any grinding that you do doesn't get inside your motor. And that's how I came up with making that slug. Hope that's clear as mud. Helps out somebody. Let me turn this back around. So again, like I was saying, when I decided to do this, this was like late 80s, early 90s when I made the initial slug. And that's when these Atlas RS3s look like this. I don't know what they look like now. I have not seen one. I don't know if they're still in production or if this has actually been changed and add a DCC piece up there. It could possibly be. And if that's the case, and if this thing is still available, all you would have to do is get rid of these pieces here and leave your decoder in there. Like I said, right now I don't know if they even making these anymore, but if there is a decoder in it, the height shouldn't make much of a difference. You still have that straight looking slug and look like a Yard Slug instead of the big body like it was a full diesel engine. So hope that helped you out. Any more questions, let me know. I'll try to answer them. Talk to you guys later.